boys? Nice to see you guys again.
Yeah.
Hey.
Wednesday, May 14th, our weekly Packet Live Roundtable. We got the infamous Caleb James Delisle, Josh Berger, Jesse Berger, and myself, Jeremy Berger. We got the three Berger bros and the adopted bro.
Indeed.
What a week it's been in the markets, right? It's been things are moving in the positive direction.
Yeah, they sure are.
It's nice to see finally.
I just use Apple, the thing that you swipe in from the side, and it just only shows the day. So it's like it's a red day, but it's up.
Yeah. It is down a little today, but it's got a.
It seems like every time I swipe left, it's either like a green day that's down or a red day that's up. Because I just don't look that often.
Yeah, no, we've definitely gotten some momentum in the upwards after a tremendous downturn. So it's funny, everyone's like, yeah, crypto's back, but it's still down 40% from the high. So we got a little ways to go. But there's some cryptos that are almost back to all-time high, which is pretty cool. Sui's almost back to all-time high.
Bitcoin.
Yeah, pretty much. Bitcoin
almost back to all-time high.
I was just looking at like WIF back over $1. Like some of these ones that went down so far and have almost fully recovered. It's wild.
Yeah.
It just shows like with crypto, there's two things where one thing you should never do is leverage. And two is just hold on for dear life. Especially, like if you can stomach holding on for dear life, you'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're doing leverage, you need to just have a shorter time frame that you're doing leverage, not a.
Hey, I think Twitter's down right now.
Like all of it?
I can't get onto Twitter. Can you guys get onto Twitter? Or X?
Twitter seems to be Twitter.
I'm on.
It's back now. It looks like it just. It looks like.
Everybody retweet this bad boy. Tell your friends.
Yeah, no, it was down for a second, or maybe my internet went down or something.
Have you tried hitting it with a hammer?
I did try that, and it seemed to fix things. It works. There we go. Looks like people are floating in. We're having seems like a little technical difficulty, but it looks like we're back in action. But yeah, it's nice to kind of see, the crypto community kind of revitalizing and getting excited about the future again. I mean, I know there was some dark days there for a bit. It was people were just not happy.
Couple of divorces, couple houses up for sale, but we're back.
We'll see. We hope so. That's
what we always say in the old days was like, if you can't handle it, then like you're not a believer. If you believe in it, believe in what the project decentralization and personal sovereignty and so on, then it doesn't matter if it goes up or down.
It's true.
So if you can't handle it, a lot of people, there was a time, I'm gonna in my boomer chair here. There was a time back when people would say, it was widely believed that Bitcoin would be illegal. They would just make it illegal, and they would go and kick down the doors of the miners and shut it all down. And back then, if you bought Bitcoins because you really believed in shutting down the Federal Reserve and all that stuff so much that you're like, well, I don't care if the money is worth nothing because the Fed can't take it. I have money that the Fed can't print, and even if it goes to zero, it's still money the Fed can't print. It's off limits to those people. That was those early days being that stubborn, and it came out of Occupy Wall Street. Occupy Wall Street, and then people came out of that. And I mean, back in the day, I met people that said that they plowed their entire paycheck into Bitcoin every week, and I don't know what they're doing now. They probably have islands, or they're just plowing their paycheck into Bitcoin just like always, because that's what they do.
Yeah, I mean, and I saw this a video that said if you had taken your stimulus check that you got in 2020 and threw it in Bitcoin, it would be worth like, I think like last year it would have been worth like 20 million or something like that.
20 million? No, that seems a little high. From 2 years ago.
No, from 2020 when it was down at like
more like 20,000.
Yeah, maybe that was. Maybe it wasn't 2020.
Oh no, you know what it might have been, because there was a wick where Bitcoin went down to like 3K, but nobody actually caught that wick. You would have had to have an open order that second when they like announced the pandemic. And I don't think anybody actually got that wick. But yes, there was a second that it was like 3K. So not 20 million, but
yeah, it wouldn't have been 20 million.
Maybe like over 100K.
Yeah.
But that wick was not. What was realistic was more like, taking, what was it, like $1,500? So like 20K. That was much more realistic.
Yeah, that seems about right. I'm trying to think about what I was seeing then. Oh no, it was if you had put in the stimulus amount in 2010 or something, or 2012, then it would have been worth today.
But you got to remember that, like, back in 2012, this Bitcoin was clearly an experiment, and most people didn't put anything more than like experimental money into it. Even if you knew about it, it was like, oh, okay, well, I mean, yeah, sure, I've got $50 I can put into that because that's kind of neat. But like, it really wasn't the kind of thing where most people were like, yeah, this is it. I'm going to put my life savings into this. So the number of people who actually came out and was like bandits with putting in everything and coming out on top, minus the ones that lost their keys or their passwords or that kind of thing, and then or got it stolen, because there was a lot of people that happened to too. And then there really wasn't that many people. And I think that most of them are just so stubborn that they're just holding on to it and continuing to live frugal lifestyles because that's what they're made of.
Yeah, I mean, we had a friend of ours who was telling us about it in like 2013, or I guess it was 2012, 2013, and it was just like, we're like, how do you get it, right? And you had to do all these, fringe things that were like so, just foreign to us.
Yeah, I tried to do it. I got lost in the.
Yeah, you needed somebody who had already done it to sit down with you and show you how it's done. I mean, that's how it was when we got into crypto, like in 2016 or 2017. Like we went and sat at a friend's house and they just showed us on their computers like how to do it. And we're like, oh, okay. This is like really like your brain's just like, what the heck is this? It's so foreign. So, and that's why I think right now for a lot of people, even in, mass market, like looking at a exchange is just a foreign place for most people, even people who buy stocks, like, or have investments, like they usually have an advisor who does all that stuff for them. So they just say, hey, here's my money, invest it for me. But
I think Robinhood has changed that a lot for people, and people are getting more comfortable looking at a chart and going and putting in a bid and doing that stuff. I think that's
even Robinhood is so simplified, Yeah, if you compare Robinhood to like, a centralized exchange for crypto, they don't feel the same, you know?
Sure, but once you've seen it, you know, if it's like walking into a room you've never seen, or like walking onto a planet you've never been to, or it's like you're going to a country you've never been to. You're like, I don't know where I am. I don't know the language. I don't know what to do. You're like foreign. It's scary and jarring. But like, if you've gone to London and then you go to France, you're like, okay, it's kind of European. And, I know London, they spoke English here. They speak a different language here, but it's still kind of like a similar vibe. It's like you can kind of put two and two together. And I think that's what Robinhood has done so brilliantly, is they've gamified trading and buying stocks and being able to do it yourself without having some fund manager do it for you. And now when you're familiar looking at a chart and seeing things go up, seeing things go down, it's all on your phone. Now it's like, okay, well, this jump over to Coinbase is still kind of gamified. It's still kind of, I'm looking at a similar chart. I'm looking at a similar price. The prices are moving a lot faster. And I can kind of like wrap my mind around it. And, there's still a long way to go before, my grandma's going in and buying crypto, but baby steps.
Well, yeah, I mean, even within like our, in our family, like people are still, no, their financial advisors are advising them to not touch crypto. And it's like, it's like just kind of crazy that we're still financial advisors are telling people that they shouldn't invest into, digital assets.
Still using the same theory that it's not backed by anything. It's funny how these things that get just kind of embedded in your mind from the propaganda, it's hard to beat them, like there's, people are still saying that, it uses too much energy, or that it's not backed by anything. And these narratives are hard to break, even after, you're watching crypto go to, Bitcoin go to $100,000. And they're, and the thing is they're like, oh, well, there's all these cryptos that failed. And so crypto's bullshit. But, they're not comparing apples to apples. It's like, how many companies fail? How many penny stocks fail? How many penny stocks are absolute scams that just get people to put a bunch of money in and then they rug pull the thing? I mean, that happens literally all the time. You got what happens about these biotech companies that are saying they're going to go get this big contract from the government, and then they don't. And then that company goes out of business. I mean, there's so many traditional businesses that fail and that are publicly traded that have gone through the whole, Reg D, Reg S, regulations, and done all the stuff, all the paperwork. And somebody puts 10 grand in and that's worth 30 cents. It happens all the time. But there's this whole stigma around crypto that it's just criminals and used for money laundering. And that's just not the truth anymore. There's more money laundering and criminals using the US dollar than Bitcoin.
Yeah, because the US dollar can't be traced. Bitcoin's on a ledger. Anywho, yeah, it's an interesting time we're living in for sure.
No doubt. Well, in good news for Packet News, we have officially launched or officially finished the we can pull it up real quick.
The domain
registration. Let me share my screen. Do you want to bring it up? There you go. So this is officially finished. We are going to move it onto a public domain. I've put it into the chat for people to kind of beta test it, but now we're ready to move it to live production. It's took longer than we thought, because there's this pain in the ass where we were trying to make it so that somebody who's not a crypto bro can just buy a domain through buy a domain through Shopify and make it really simple for just normies to be able to buy domains. So what domain should we buy? We'll do a little test here.
To crypto.
Something we already have crypto. You
Um,
can see, like, if you type in crypto, you can see it's not available.
How about Earth?
Sure. All right. All right, so there's two different ways you can do it. You can either do self-custody, where you'll connect your Web3 wallet, but if you want to do hosted custody, then you pay an extra fee and we'll host it in our wallet for you. So then you click next, and you can see it's in your shopping cart, and then you just go and check out, pay with a credit card. And this one I already connects my wallet to it, but yeah, you can just go and pay with a credit card and go buy a domain. And that domain, if you don't do hosted and you just buy the domain and connect your wallet, then we will transfer that to your wallet. And this makes it so that if you don't have PKT and ETH on base in your wallet, there's some complexities to buying domains, then we'll just do the whole thing for you. And so we go and use our PKT and we use our ETH on base and go and purchase it for you, and then we'll transfer it to your wallet. And if we're hosting it, it's $10 a year to host it for you. If you're doing it yourself, then you just pay $6.99 one time, and then that's your domain forever. And there's no renewal fees, and it can be accessed through all of these top level domains. So if we got earth.pkt, you can access that through earth.pkt.yacht.cool.buzz.africa.photo. All of these top level domains will take you to your domain. Pretty cool. We'll be launching that in the next 24 hours on a domain, and you'll be able to access it and get your domains. So we got to put it onto a packet domain. These are all the domains that are claimed. I think we're going to use this one, claim.pkt. Everything else. And yeah, that's the newest and greatest. So as we are building out the packet hub and the creator hub, now when people join that ecosystem, they'll be prompted to claim their domain. The other thing, we've showed it on here. I'll share my screen again.
I'm started selling cars back in the day now.
Jeremy, can you bring it up?
Yeah, for some reason. Oh, there it goes.
So if you're with Web3, if you have a Web3 wallet, this will find your wallet, connect it, and then you can just go earth.pkt or just type in earth. It'll have a little check mark to show that it's available. And then this shows you how much packet is needed. So 1,000 packet is needed. I usually do just a little bit above whatever this number is, but you can do this number, and then you click register, and it will, if you have to have PKT in your wallet, and you have to have a little ETH on base in your wallet, and then you can register your domain, and that will go directly into your Web3 wallet. It's 1,000 packet, which is, a few cents, and get a domain basically for free. It sits in an NFT that sits in your wallet. You can go to here. I claim this one. So when you go to your packet DNS, and here you can just go and add your record, point it to wherever your host is, wherever your website is hosted, and then that site will point to this domain. So, and that's yours forever.
Yeah, it's epic. Yeah, so if you haven't gotten your domain yet, I don't know what you're waiting for, but go claim that and point your website to one of the domains and that you claimed and be on the decentralized web.
Yeah, we'll put it claim.pkt.live will be the website. So that will go live ideally today. Once we get off this call, we'll go get her done.
Go get it done. Nice. Yeah. Super exciting to get that thing done and move on up. Yeah, is there other things we want to talk to? Maybe we do a short call today. We got two of our guys that are busy.
Yeah, we had a cool meeting yesterday talking about fast channels and getting into the nuances of it. We've been getting deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole of this technology we're calling the Magic Controller, and so yeah, there's lots of cool tech that's being kind of built behind the scenes and developed. We're more in the R&D phase of it right now, but really focusing on discovery and helping with discovery for content as we get into fast channels, and learned a lot about fast channel programming yesterday, working with one of the top companies in the space, and yeah, a lot of positive stuff coming your way. We're just finishing the design of the website that will really focus on Packet TV and what that will become. So stay tuned for that'll be kind of the next thing we're building here.
Yeah, super pumped for Packet TV to kind of get out into the world, kind of figuring out the way to kind of share it with everybody and how it's different than any other streaming platform or fast channel aggregator, and so that's going to be really exciting to show you guys why this is different, how it's different, but we have a systemic problem right now in content creation and content distribution, especially on the film side. There's no transparency. Creators who get into deals, they may get an upfront fee, but they'll never see a dime on the back end, and that's because there's no transparency. And these distribution platforms and studios can do whatever they want and call it say that they lost money even though the movie made billions of dollars. And so this changes that and lets people get paid for the real amount that they should get paid. Even like a platform like Spotify, people are getting fractions of pennies for streams when Spotify's racking in way more on the dollar side. Creators get the fraction of pennies, and the the platform, owners get, the majority. And so it shouldn't be that way. If it should be split evenly, or it should be split, majority to the creator, so that, they can live the life that they want to live. These guys are making tons of money while the creators get pennies. It's not fair. So this changes that. And there's a lot of different facets to it. That's just one. But the idea is to have transparency on the payouts.
Yeah.
And so it's super exciting.
Yeah. It's hard to solve this problem. It's not an easy problem to solve, because these systems are actually really new. And we were even talking to the folks yesterday about how messed up even Amazon Prime is with regards to their fast streaming and all the data that is required to do good programming and optimizing what viewers are getting access to and what content should go where. And that not even Amazon has good, consistent, accessible data being shared with the content creators that are programming these channels. And that's Amazon, and then there's at least a dozen other fast streaming platforms as well that are all trying to solve this problem, and they all have different pathways to the solution, different technologies, different platforms that they're using, content management systems. And because there's no consistency across all these different platforms, it's hard for a content creator or a channel operator, for that matter, who has their channel being provided to multiple different platforms, to even get the data around what's happening on each individual platform for them to optimize the stream or optimize the content programming or optimize the revenue. So it's not an easy fix. And so also, it's not just because the platforms are trying to necessarily screw everyone over, although we know the result is that, but there is just broken systems or non-existent systems or inefficient systems that are causing some of these pain points. So it's not just like snap your fingers and fix it, or just accuse these major platforms and providers of malfeasance. It might be inadvertent to an extent. And so with Packet TV, our goal is to obviously solve it, but in fact, solving the transparency problem is not going to be the fastest thing. It's not even going to be the first thing that we're going to be able to do, just because we have to get our foot in the game. We have to get the content out there. We have to get distribution and have it be accessible. We're definitely going to put an emphasis on the discovery problem and bring in a lot more creators for them to participate in programming and getting on with the fast streaming kind of revolution. And then from there, begin creating systems that will provide some of the data transparency and revenue transparency that we believe everyone should get. But yeah, it's just as we're digging in, we realize that it's easier said than done.
Yeah, there's a new studio. It's like Man Studio. That one creator, what's his name? I was trying to look it up. Darman Studio. I think they put in like a massive studio, and they brought in I think the CEO of MTV to come be their CEO. And they're just saying, fuck the studio model. We'll just go start our own studio. And they bought this massive, or created this massive studio lot. And I think they just did a deal with Samsung to start putting their content onto Samsung TV. And these old studio model is just not working for the new creators out there. So they're just saying, we'll just start our own studio and just put another studio on the list, and we have access to distribution just like they do, through these fast platforms and through these TVs, and we'll just go and do it ourselves. So it's pretty interesting how things are shifting.
Yeah, I think part of that shift is around the creator economy and moving away from needing studios or distributors to greenlight content. Now just content creators can greenlight content every single day and put it out over their own platform. So there's definitely an empowerment movement happening with regards to creators. And also, since the revenue is being monetized off of the creators platform, they don't need to wait for a studio to give them distribution so that they can get access to revenue anymore. In fact, it goes the other way, where the studios want to use these platforms that are powered by influencers to promote or monetize the content. So the whole game is changing for sure. And distribution is the lifeblood of the revenue side of the media industry. So, we were all dependent on studios and distributors to give you access to audience so that you could get access to the revenue. But now that the creators and influencers are controlling the audience and the platform is where the money comes from, the studio sits on the side of that to a large extent. Now, where the studio is still incredibly powerful, there's several different places. One, they have output distribution deals that far extend the reach and audience accessibility from just a traditional platform. So the new, or I should say, the traditional platforms, where you're getting, access beyond just, one individual, platform, such as like an Amazon or a Netflix or something like that. And then the second place is obviously financing. So for original content creation, you still need money to create content, and people want to get paid to create content. So even these influencers are looking for studios to pay them to create content. And then you cut the financier into the content creation, monetization, right? So those two places, there's still, plenty of opportunity that exists with the major studio distributors. But the tides are certainly shifting. And I wouldn't call it necessarily a power struggle, but it's a changing of the guard in terms of how things are getting done. And there's still a ton of opportunity out there. I mean, and there is, and we believe a big opportunity in terms of adding a new lane in the fast streaming side of things. So being that it's a new way for distributing content, not that new, it's, 10 years old, but it's really become more prominent in the last few years, in particular, really since COVID. It's started to accelerate as far as use. And a lot of people, and then we're seeing just huge growth happening on YouTube. Like YouTube is just exploding between YouTube TV and just how good the algorithm is on YouTube, the creator economy on YouTube, and how many people are getting really comfortable with the YouTube app and starting to get their content and news and watching sports and just everything that you can do with YouTube and YouTube Live. We're seeing a big kind of shift in the way people are relating to content these days. So now I think with Fast, it's just getting creative as far as the programming goes, and there's a lot of things that just exist on YouTube that don't exist in the fast streaming world. So this, I think, where we're going to be able to make a splash is helping onboard content creators that are doing really great stuff on YouTube and bring them into the fast streaming.
Totally.
YouTube isn't exclusive, is it? So it really isn't. If you're making stuff on YouTube, there isn't really a good reason not to syndicate at other places if it would make you a little extra money.
Totally. It's actually really, it's getting me really excited because, to your point, let's say you're a content creator on YouTube, you have 500,000 subs, which is a lot, right? You're monetizing, you're putting out content to feed that audience every day, maybe a couple pieces of content every day. And those subscribers are consuming that content on a weekly basis, right? Not every one of your subscribers is going to be watching every piece of content the day it comes out. But let's say a good portion of your audience is watching, the pieces of content that you're putting out. And because you're making good money, you're going to be starting to invest into improving the quality and refining the type of formats of content that you're putting out, right? There are certain content creators that are creating, 5-minute videos. Certain content creators are creating 30 minutes. Some people are editing upwards of an hour, like YouTube Golf. Some of these shows are an hour and a half, watching them play 18 holes or do a competition, or, there's some really long format content. So obviously a lot of money goes into that.
And the kids content,
kid content.
The kids content. Nowadays what kids want to watch are other kids playing with toys and, doing activities like coloring, doing Play-Doh and drawing and clay.
Totally.
And stuff.
So you have that content so just to finish the kind of explanation. So you have that content that's being created every single day and put onto YouTube. So then someone like Packet TV comes around to one of those content creators and goes, hey, you're sitting on hundreds of hours of content. Why don't we take that content, turn it into a half dozen different formats, that we stitch together into a 24-hour channel, 24/7 channel, and syndicate that content. You'll put your new content the day it's ready. You'll put that up on your YouTube. And then every single month we'll create like 30 new hours of content that will continuously be added to your fast channel. And that fast channel will be a place that people can go and find your brand and just watch content without having to click around. It will be programmed in there. It doesn't affect your business on YouTube. It just, to your point, syndicates all that content. And for your legacy library, the stuff that you shot last year, that people probably, some maybe viral videos are getting continuous views in the explore sections of YouTube, but for the most part, the views you got on that are the views you have. And so now you're stirring the pot, repurposing all that content for a whole new audience that never found those videos, never watched them.
Right.
Can now discover them on fast. And you can build your brand even bigger. And then you can drive people from your fast to your YouTube where they can find more content. You can actually promote your YouTube directly off of the fast channel. So, and then it's a whole new revenue structure. Now you're getting paid twice on the same piece of content. Why not? So I think a lot of creators are going to find this business model very compelling. But here's what's interesting. If you say, okay, I'm in, that sounds great. How do I get into fast? Where's the money come from? You still need distribution. And to get distribution in fast isn't easy because it's still somebody greenlighting a channel. There's costs that go into providing that channel. There's costs that go into programming that channel. And then you need all the technology that will provide the revenue. If you're doing programmatic advertising, for example, that's just feeding ads on there, that's pretty low value ads. And to get the high value ads, like high CPM value ads, you really need a sales team. And so the big distributors are the ones that have those like high value sales teams that can generate the high value CPMs, but that's not available for everyone. And not every channel is going to get high CPMs. There's some shitty channels out there that just aren't going to earn as much as other channels. So it really comes down to how well is the channel programmed? How good is the content? And do you have the right content, right? And right distributor? And that's where Packet TV will ultimately thrive, is by providing a distribution platform, programming some of these original channels, financing those original channels, and doing rev shares with content creators to optimize the revenue side. And but we got a lot of work to do to build all of that out and get the capital that will ultimately power that content engine. Once all those things are kind of going, how that relates back to the Packet currency is in regards to the Packet Hub as a marketing engine, people bringing their content story onto the Packet Hub, getting Packet domains, and other ways that people can transact within the Packet network, utilizing Packet Cash. So those are all still, key parts of the story. We just haven't been able to put a huge amount of emphasis on that part of Packet while we're building this infrastructure for, what's essentially the next chapter of the story. But definitely eager to get back there and start putting in, an emphasis back on Packet currency. So at some point,
well, the last 6 years, we've really been building the foundation for all of this to exist. Like we've got the network, we have the domaining system, we have the hub, and like all these pieces are kind of there. And now we're really focused on the Packet TV side of it, bringing in the celebrity, bringing in the people the content license holders, and filling all that stuff on top of what we've already built. And really the foundation of it's built, and the expansion of it will happen as the marketing kicks into gear, as people start watching content on Packet TV, as the celebrities start coming in, as the influencers start coming in. And that is all built on top of this foundation, which is the Packet ecosystem.
Yeah.
And and just being able to know, seeing what this network actually looks like. All these years it's been hard to visualize what the Packet network looks like. Like, how does it, network is very esoteric, but when you look at the Packet Hub, when you look at what Packet TV will become, then you can see that this is a global platform that is built on distributed infrastructure in 35 countries around the world currently, and expanding. And now when you're running a CJDNS node at your house in Germany, like, you'll understand what we're doing and why you're doing it. And that's kind of where we come full circle back to Packet.
Yeah. I think that will make a lot more sense to people. They'll be like, oh, here's Packet TV and here's the infrastructure, rather than the way it is right now, where it's like, hey, we have this network, but what does it do? How do I, what am I doing while I'm running my CJDNS node? And what do I do with the tokens? But at the end of the day, look, a lot of people are involved with a lot of crypto projects that do absolutely nothing, or that they have no idea what it even does, even if it is a sophisticated project. I mean, we know that a lot of tokens do nothing, for instance, like Trump coin does absolutely nothing, and won't ever do anything.
Gets you dinner.
What?
It gets you a free dinner.
Maybe if you go,
you got to get there though.
You got to put a couple billion into it. So that said, I think that there's an awareness problem for sure with Packet. It's just, do we have the marketing to drive awareness and build community around it? And so as soon as we can really put an emphasis on that, and I'm talking about like a serious emphasis on it, it can't just be a few $1,000 a month. It's just not enough to really make an impact. So as soon as we can do that, we can get this thing back cooking again. And I am excited about that. And, us showing up on these Wednesday calls just to show that we're not going anywhere in terms of, staying true to that mission. But yeah, it's just been one foot in front of the other, kind of slugging through. Nice to see the markets, flipping around, I guess, to an extent. Hasn't really fully shown up on the altcoin market yet, but Ethereum's still digging itself out of the crater, up, over 2x off the bottom.
Yeah.
But so super
baby steps, baby.
Yeah.
Well, I think we can keep this one a little tight. Yeah. There's a lot of work that we're doing, a lot of things that need to get done. But yeah, we're here in the command center working every day, even though it might look like we're not. We definitely are. We need to get a little more active in the community, which I've been trying to just engage a little bit more. But as we start working with more creators, and we'll we'll start bringing those people into the community and start really engaging that conversation around content and around the infrastructure that and domains and all that stuff. And now that we have the domain system really easy to use, we can really start onboarding people to build websites on the Packet network.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. Good work on that, Josh.
Thanks. Hey, Caleb.
All right, well, gentlemen, it's good seeing you.
Yeah, always. Take care.
Have a good one, guys. See you later.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Same time, same place.